Well there folks, been a long time coming. I'm going to do a video here on my complete knife collection, at least that I have on me. There's a few other knives floating around that I couldn't find. I left a few way back at my folks' house, ones I didn't want to ever lose or get rid of, like a Buck 110 and a old Jeff White Trekker 2 knife, but and a couple others. But besides that, got all my fixed blades, got all my pocket knives down here, and if that sounds like something y'all be interested in checking out, stay tuned. I'm going to try and make it as quick as I can, but I got a lot of knives here, so here we go. Alright, we're going to keep this as short and simple and sweet as we can. Not going to be in too much of a particular order. First off, I guess I'll show you all the one I've had the longest. And that is this old Gerber multi-tool, old snub nose. And I've had this for about 27 years. I've had a lot of my collections stolen from me or lost in the past, but somehow I've managed to hang on to this Gerber. Let's find some other oldies. Got this little old pocket knife thingamadoo. I believe this was Imperial, Providence, USA. Little 3-blade. Might have been, I believe this might possibly be the Stockman model. Got this at a flea market once, little no name. Probably came from Pakistan, made in Pakistan, something like that. Sometimes I just keep this in my pocket. It's just a cheapie I got for like $5, because people are always asking me if they can borrow a knife, and I don't give people my knives to borrow. Lend out a knife, you're asking for it to get chipped or messed up or broken, in my experience. You gotta definitely trust the person that you're handing that knife to, because I've had a couple chipped and a couple halfway broken, so I kind of stopped lending them out. But it's good to have a little cheapie in your pocket if somebody needs to use a knife and they're crazy enough to not have one. Here's another old one, old Hawkbill somebody gave me once. See, this one is actually a K-bar. Kind of see the K-bar stamp in there. Pretty old. Looks like some old walnut handles. Slip joint. Talking about slip joints, here's another little slip joint. I don't even remember the name of this knife, but they make them in all different variations with different coatings on the blades and different scales. And this one has the jade scales, I guess, so that you are able to dye it whatever color you want. Nice little slicey slip joint though, which I never want to be, but if I'm ever in an area where I'm not allowed to have anything more than a slip joint, at least I got this. Very light and unobtrusive, and it's got this deep carry pocket clip, so you can stick this up in your shirt pocket and it look like you got a pen, or just nobody even notice it. That's real steel. Here's just an old crappy one I found, old Kershaw, made in China. I don't have very many knives made in China. Got the Hinderer pattern. I don't remember if I found this or somebody gave it to me or what, but just old junker. If anybody ever needs a knife, I'd hand them that. Cool little automatic knife. Pretty durable. More of a beater. Here we got a little Boker stubby strike. I guess this is California legal. cool little knife to carry around. Don't scare too many people with this, having this, pulling this out of your pocket. We got the Rat 1, Model 1. This one's in D2 with satin blade, made in Taiwan. And I might as well show this guy right here. The Blue Ridge Knives Avispa. And this is one of my beater knives. This is made in D2, made in Taiwan as well. Probably at the same facility as that Ontario Rat Model 1. I've beaten this thing to hell and back. Beating this thing to hell and back, and it's still kicking. It's a little tight opening and closing. I mean, you can do it one-handed, but it's easier with two. Nice little backup knife throw in your pocket. Took the spring out of this, but I got one of them good old ZT 0350s. This one is in S30V. Just a cool older knife from 15-20 years ago. I took the spring out so it's not assisted. Here's a Gerber I got at a flea market. I think it's just cool design. Probably made in China. Don't even know what steel it's made with, but I don't know. I got it for cheap. Here's an old slip joint. Let's see if we can see. Victorinox stainless. It's like a gardening knife, pruning knife. Super light, easy to throw in the pocket and forget about till you need it. Another good one to lend out. Now let's do a few of these fixed blades. Alright, this is one that I built. I did the leather sheath for. It was a polar knife by Brisa knife blank, and I stacked some bamboo, some deer antler and brass in there. I haven't ever really seen anybody stack bamboo for a handle. And it comes with a little nice leather sheath that I made. Did a little tooling on. Here's an old timer. There's a nice little sheath I made for it. They don't make them like they used to. Model 165, OT 165, made in the USA. I love all that old pitting on there. You can get this thing nice and sharp. Beat the heck out of it. Good skinning knife. Good knife to run around the mountain with. Here's a custom one that I got off Etsy. I believe it was RL Knives. Interesting sheath stitched with some kind of stainless wire. Made from an old saw blade. Modeled after the Hudson Bay knife. Here's one, this was a Jeff White knife blank, long hunter, that first one like this I built, elk antler. Did a little file work on the handle. It's a little piece of burl I found from a bigger chunk I found along the river, some driftwood. Brass guard. 1095 high carbon steel, well made. Kind of knife I'd like to have if a bear was coming at me. Here's another Jeff White knife blank. I need to make a real different sheath for this. This is an old sheath from something else I made, but Jeff White dagger. Desert ironwood scales, brass pins. I did some file work into there, give it a little grip on the handle. 1095 high carbon. Daggers are a little bit harder to forge. Jeff White is a master bladesmith. Doesn't have his stamp on there, his maker's mark, because if he's not putting the knife together, somebody could do a crap job and give him a bad name. So I don't blame him for that. But it was a Jeff White knife blank. Another Jeff White knife blank. Little leather sheath I made for this. Short Hunter. That is burl from along the river, stacked leather, antler, and then I power carved the eagle's head and another piece of antler for the back. I do have a YouTube video on building this knife, as well as a few of the other ones I've already shown. So if that's something you'd be interested in, maybe go check out some of my other uploads on my channel. Do all kinds of stuff. Pretty neat little knife, I thought. Just didn't look like it would be comfortable in the hand, but once you get it in the hand, it's definitely be a good little hunting knife. Might as well continue on with the Jeff Whites. I did this sheath for this one, Jeff White bush knife. Now I thinned out the handle down in there. This is curly maple scales, and I put them little notches in there. This is still one of my favorite knives. Just a cool little knife to run around the woods with. Durable and tough, and highly recommend if you can get your hands on one. There's a few floating around out there, but Jeff White's kind of stopped making knives for the time being with the price of steel going up the way it has. So I feel lucky to have the ones that I do have. I got a bunch of his blanks I haven't put together yet either. So that is the Jeff White bush knife, one of my favorites. This was a Jeff White blank, and so I made this leather sheath, dyed it and all that, double saddle stitched. This was the Jeff White large Kephart blank, and I ended up reworking the blade a little bit, turn it into a different shape. I really like this knife. I would have never done it if it had his maker's mark on there, but it's one of the first knives I built. Actually, I think it was the first I ever built. Desert ironwood scales, brass pins, thin handle. This is a pretty good little knife to run around in the woods with also. 1095 high carbon steel. That's one of my oldie but goodies. There's another Jeff White knife blank that I built. Did this sheath. This is a cool knife. People are scared to sharpen these. They think it's hard, but practice makes perfect. Got a little rust starting to get on there. I might have to clean this up. Really beautiful curly maple scales that I got for this one to put on. I forget the name of this knife design, but something cool in my book. There we go. Might as well show you the last little Jeff White blank I got. I'm not finished with this, but just a little kind of Jeff White caper. It was a blank, no maker's mark. And that is bamboo that I put for those scales that I harvested myself. Brass pins. That's a Nice little knife. Maybe I was thinking about making a sheath to make it a little neck knife or something. I have one more of these too I have to build, and might end up selling one of them, I don't know. Or both. MCO 80 20.5. I just had to have one. Really like the Shark Lock. Super cool little knife to fidget with. Not the best knife to run around in the woods with, but that kind of digs down in my hand. If you're getting choked up, some of the different tasks I do, I like to choke up like that. I guess over time I could get used to not digging my hand down in there like that, but really cool knife. I like it. AD 20.5, made in Taiwan. Nice little neck knife. People complain about it being too small, but I mean, it's perfect for if you need a knife in a pinch. I guess that's why they called it that. Little skeleton blade. And this is $10.95. I kind of stopped wearing it this summer because I'd have it up against my body and sweating. Carbon steel does not mix with sweat too good, and it always get all rusted up. I gotta clean it up again. I'll be getting a nice little patina on there. So that's the Essie Pinch. Cool little knife. I think I got, here's a Tops Kirdashi Karambit. It's kind of hard to find this, but they're out there. Cool little knife. If we can. Nice little sheath you can put along your belt. Carry cross straw. And that's a nice little semi-tactical knife. Also, I mean, I'd use this to cut leather and do utility tasks and all kinds of stuff. Can be well hidden against your body, and it's got my Carter scales. Cool little knife. I don't think I'd ever get rid of it. Here's one of my favorites. This is my favorite neck knife. This is Jason Smith from Hobo Forge. Hand forged knives. Go check him out. Blacksmith's knife. Nice little leather sheath. He does great with leather work. I got one more of his blades we'll get to later. He's making me at some point, I know he's a pretty busy man, but Jason's actually at some point going to make me a larger fixed blade, a custom one. Be able to rough out bows. I'm getting into traditional archery and hunting. So I'm working on a bow at this moment as we speak. That's part of why I haven't been putting out too many videos, because I'm really getting into it. Nice piece of Osage orange I've been carving on. I'm about a little over halfway done it. Taking my time, just trying to get it right. Hobo Forge Blacksmith Knife by Jason Smith. Good guy. Go check him out. Here's a little carving knife I have. Made this little quickie sheath for it. I get into a little woodworking and carving, flex cut. Some quality carving tools made in the USA, and they're affordable. You know, it's kind of a step above Beavercraft, which aren't bad at all either. Get yourself a little flex cut carver. Here's a little old Slingen bird and trout knife. I don't know how old this is, but super cool in my book. Made in Germany. Need to make a sheath for it. Stacked leather handle. They don't make them like they used to. Here is, I guess you can consider this a knife. Little hook knife. This was made in Ukraine, and I had ordered it about 2 weeks before Russia invaded. So they got it out to me. I wrap the tape around it. See, the handle starts back here, and I wrap some leather and some tape around there to get in a little bit. Get up, choke up a little more when I'm carving out spoons and bowls. Good quality carbon steel blade though. I can get it super sharp. Here's one that I built. Another Brisa polar knife. It was a blank. Stacked bamboo and leather together. A little bit of deer antler. I have a video on making this knife as well. Building it. Sorry. Building the knife, not making it. I did not forge this knife. There's one. That's the same style, or actually the same blade blank. Brisa polar. And that was a big old deer leg bone that Bonzo came trudging out of the brush with. So I have a video on building this knife. It's a cool little carver. I built it, and then to thicken up the handle I wrapped some rawhide around there, and there's a pin down through there, and this is a solid blade. Just something neat to have. I don't use it too often, but I think it looks cool. Here's another one that I'm in the process. I haven't finished yet, but where did I get this? Blade blank from Poland. Carbon steel. Nice slicey knife. And that is locust. Hand carved and sanded. Need to make a sheath for it and finish it up. Here's another little one from Poland, a little carving knife. I have 3 or 4 other style blades like this that I have not put handles on yet, but here's another one I did with a locust handle and just did a little wood burning design in there. I'm in the process of finishing it, but a nice little carving knife. Thick handle. I got arthritis in my hand bad, so I need a thicker handle to do work, or I pay the price the next day. I'm sure some of y'all know all about it. There's an old Mora. I use this a lot. I've been using this with carving that bow. Great little thin slicing knife for doing some scraping. Nice and light. Throw it in your pack. Take it out. Old school with the red handle. I thought about when I bought this knife, I originally was going to take this handle off and I was going to carve my own handle, but I don't know. It's neat. I figure I'd leave it the way it is for a while. Some history there. Morz Kochanski. More blade blank I got from Poland. And that's Bacardi scales. Still need to make a sheath for this. Kind of made a little bit of a Coke bottle style handle. Fits pretty nice, feels good. Let's get into the Spydercos. So this is one of my main everyday carries in my pocket. I usually have about 3 or 4 knives on me, because I use them all. I enjoy using them all. I mean, I could carry one knife and get all my tasks done, but I just love knives. I'm sure some of you understand. This one is in K390, and it's a user. Really like this blade. It's light. I've never had to sharpen it yet. K390 is a super steel. It's not really that much of a fidgety knife. Yeah, but man, I love this knife. Super cool. Here's a cheapie. I guess this is bird, made in China. Just something I found one day. Junk. Sometimes when I run the river in my ducky, I take this with me. I don't really care if I lose it or anything like that. made by Bird. Cheap little budget knife. Nothing special. Oh yeah, this is one of my favorites. The Shaman Spyderco in CPM S30V. I really like that steel for pocket knives. Big fan of it. Not the hardest to sharpen, holds an edge for long enough. I actually modified the handle, did a skinny model on this handle for this Shaman, and I do have a video on doing that on my channel. But got the compression lock. Super cool knife. This is one of my favorite pocket knives as well. I don't carry it all the time, but I actually made two different sheaths for it. This one I can carry an appendix carry up front. That's why I got the lanyard on there. Pull it out real quick. This is a beefy, durable, tough knife. So I have that sheath. I also made this one. The Shaman's just a little heavier, so instead of having it swinging around in my pocket, I kind of like having it on my belt. Some of my bigger pocket knives I like to carry on my belt. I do leather work, so why not? I love making sheaths, but there's the two I made for these. For this one. Here's also one of my favorite everyday carries from Spyderco in CPM S30V. Made in Taichung, Taiwan. This is probably my favorite little lightweight pocket knife, ultimate design. And you know what, at the moment the name is slipping my brain, but I made this little knife sheath for it. Cool little lightweight fidgety knife. The blade is, I believe, just under 3 inches. You can carry this most places, but really nice. Alright, let's get into a couple cold steel knives. This is a nice little neck knife. The Spike. Made in Taiwan. Now this is more of, pretty much just for self-defense. There isn't much more you want to do with this, but it will get the job done. Very unobtrusive. You can hide it under your shirt. Nobody even know you got it. By Spyderco. There's I think 3 or 4 different variations of this knife, and this one's my favorite, the kind of Bowie style. 4116 stainless. But I'm not using this for anything too much, so I'm not worried about it getting dull. I just leave it there nice and sharp. Carry it every once in a while. Here's a little K-Tac Bowie, or Mini Tac by Cold Steel. And I wish I'd have known this one was made in China. That kind of pissed me off when I got it, but just a little, another little neck knife to, I guess, carry around with me. I guess this would be a good one if I wasn't too worried about it getting taken or confiscated, but it'll definitely do the trick. Nothing special about it, just Cold Steel or cool, cheap budget knives. Most of them. Some of them get a little expensive. And then this one here, good old Cold Steel Tiger Claw. Karambit. Made in Taiwan. All say A, but it doesn't matter if it holds an edge or not. You know what this is for. Golly. And I actually have there's a polymer training knife for this too that you can use to train with. I suggest if you have a karambit, you practice with the trainer before you go swinging this around. That tip will definitely do some damage to your forearm. or if you just kind of swing it around and fling it out somewhere. Cool little tiger claw. Cold steel. You on with cold steel, and I made this little knife sheath for this. Put a ferro rod and a little flashlight in there. And American Lawman, also one of my favorite pocket knives. Awesome, tough, durable design. This one's in CPM S35VN, made in Taiwan. Good old American Lawman. And Recon 1. This is a good pocket knife to run around the woods with. Cold steel, made in Taiwan. S35VN. This is a tough knife. Actually did really good with some little bushcraft and survival tasks as well. Can really beat this thing up. Still keeps on kicking. I got a video on my channel on this knife as well, doing some things with it. So I'd say go check it out if you want to see some Recon 1 in action. Really cool blade. I got the one with the clip point. There's two other variations. A Tonto and more of a blade shape like the American Lawman. Let's see here. Oh. And this is just that little sheath I made to appendix carry on my belt. Here's just a cheap little Chinese made karambit that one of my friends gave me. It's all beat up, hunk of junk. Tips all bent. I'd probably never carry this with me, ever. At some point I'll probably get rid of it. Give it away to somebody that might get more use out of it than I do. Alright, here's a cool case knife on eBay a while back. And I'll probably make a sheath for it at some point. Stainless steel. I just thought it looked kind of cool. Thought it was just kind of a cool old case fixed blade. I've never had a case fixed blade, so I picked it up. I'll make a sheath for it at some point. It has a little pit in there somehow on this stainless blade, but that's alright. Here we got a Charade Uncle Henry blade. I bought this off a friend of mine for $40 a while back. He needed some money and thought it was a pretty cool old knife made in the USA. Model 153UH for Uncle Henry. They don't make them like they used to, folks. Too bad Charade sold out, huh? But that's a cool old carbon steel blade. Tough, durable, good little skinning knife. Romp around the woods knife. Alright. Here's a kind of nice Puko Luku kind of model knife. The Kellum Fang. There is a series of, I believe, 5 different knives in this Wolfpack series by Kellum Knives. And I got the one dead center. There's 2 larger than this and 2 smaller, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but man, this is a great little bushcraft and carving and durable, tough knife. Stick tang, but if I had to, I wouldn't feel scared to do a little batoning through some poplar or something, get some dry wood. And I actually wrapped some leather around here so I can carry it as a neck knife. I carry it in the winter a lot more than I do in the summer for some reason, but cool knife. Might get a few more in that series at some point. I'll get back over. So that's one of the first knife sheaths I ever made, and I had made that from a Buck 110, which I don't have here anymore. But I think we're gonna have to hurry up. I hear some thunder rumbling. Man, this is a real cool knife. Here's the original sheath for it. This one's kind of hard to find. Check this out. Some of the nicknames, I believe, one of the nicknames for it, I believe, was the Sunfish. Charade USA 51OT. Really cool pocket knife. I just love that big fat blade shape. Old Delrin handles on it. Really, really cool one. Something you don't see too often. Sometimes they go for up to $200-300. I got mine for under $100. And it's a user. I'm not scared to use them. Really cool knife. I love that little belly there. So that is the Charade USA 51OT. Check it out. I might do a video on this one day. There's a few on YouTube, but I might put it into a little action. Let me know if y'all want to see that one in a video. And here's just a little carving and tooling I did on there, on this sheath I made. All kinds of wild stuff going on. And here's the old timer that was kind of modeled after the Buck 110. There was a lot of copies of the Buck 110. This is the 7OT. Got this for a good price. Good old carbon steel hunting knife. Still got a little snap. Piece of history. Oh, one more cold steel I forgot about. The Airlight. Boss 10A, made in Taiwan. Nice little light, unobtrusive knife to throw in your pack. Little backup to forget about till you need it. It's so light, I mean, you keep it in your pocket and you really forget about it. Sturdy design. Got the triad lock. Cold steel Airlight. Alright, I might as well get through a couple more pocket knives here. Got the SAK Forester model. I really like how this Victorinox it has a locking blade here. Pretty good size. It's got a bunch of different little tools on here. The main reason I really like this is, let me see if I can find, it's always hard for me to find where to pop it open. There it is. I love having this little saw on here. Making notches. I mean, I've cut little twigs and stuff with it. You can get fire going pretty easy with this knife. Help you prep it. Really nice, handy pocket knife to have. Multi-tool, I guess. Everybody's got to have one SAK in their collection, and this is one of my favorite styles and favorite ones that come from Victorinox. Oh, I forgot. I also really like how it has a set of tweezers in here if I need to pick a tick off my dog or myself. And it's got a good old toothpick. Real handy. You can break knots with this, you know, get them untied and untangled. Really handy knife to have. Highly recommend it. Victorinox SAK Forester model. We'll get pissed off at this knife, but it's a cool knife. It is an Old Bear. It's kind of a cop-off of the Opinel. They make them in a bunch of different sizes, just like Opinel, made in Italy. This one's a little tight, but I really like how it has this little lock here. Lock that blade in. With Opinel, it slides over. Just good little kind of carving, farting around knife. Old Bear. nice and light, walnut handles. Got the Microtech Ultratech. I got the one with the stonewash blade and the Tonto. I love how it's got that little bit of belly there. Tough, durable OTF. This is a nice everyday carry, which check your local laws, but where I live, you're allowed to carry it. And once I found that out, I had to get one. Awesome knife for the money. You pay a little bit, but you get what you pay for, right, folks? So, Microtech Ultratech. So, before I got that Microtech Ultratech, I bought this ViperTech. Kind of a cheap knockoff, I guess. This is more of a beater OTF, even though that Ultratech's a little more durable. This thing's durable enough. I've never had a problem with it. A little funkier sounding, opening and closing, but I kind of like it. And this one's a D2. You gotta watch out with a lot of these cheaper OTFs. They all come from the same place in China, and then they ship the parts to people in the USA, and they put them together in the USA and try and tell you they're made in the USA. The company ViperTech I got this from, they do not say they're made in the USA, so they ain't lying too much. But, not a bad beater knife. Crappy little sheath with it. Let's get into some of my favorite. Let's get into some William Collins knives. Save some of the best for last. Here is a leather sheath that I made for this blade. I carved and tooled. That's my drawing that I drew up and put on the leather. And what I did was I whip stitched around and then double saddle stitched the inside. My card of scales. This is one of William Collins' Master Woodsman, one of his older models of it. I got lucky to find it. It's kind of hard to find William Collins knives for sale online, but he's a custom knife maker. These are all hand ground, made in the USA. This one's an ABL. My card of scales, brass pins, heavy duty knife. If I got lost out in the woods with this blade, I would not be sad. Can take care of just about anything I needed to. So that is the William Collins Master Woodsman. And I do have a sheath, original sheath that William Collins actually made. I got that packed away in safe. Y'all seen this in a few videos. William Collins Hunter Gatherer. Super durable pack machete. Natural micarta scales. Nitro V. I love how he puts when he made them on here. This one was December of 2021. William Collins Hunter Gatherer. This will get through just about anything I needed to. Complete any task I need. Awesome pack machete. And this is the knife sheath that I made for it. This one didn't come with a sheath. Made it a little bit cheaper in price by not having a sheath with it. But so I did this leather work. Can carry both ways. Carry it up and down, or kind of carried scout carry or appendix carry. But usually I just keep it packed in my pack. Take it out when I need it. Here is William Collins Alaska Survival Knife. I did that leather work here, made this sheath, carved and tooled a coyote on the front. Any place you can get this knife is Great Northern Knives up in Alaska. That's one of William Collins' distributors. This one was made in the USA June of this year.
You can pre-order these, but I got lucky and snagged one up as it came in there. These are Sure Touch scales. It has Sure Touch knife handle scales. That is layers of G10 and rubber. Really grippy even when it's wet. This is a really nice knife. Like, this will do anything you need it to. Big tasks, little tasks. I'm going to do a video featuring this blade at some point. So, Alaska Survival Knife by William Collins. Go check his knives out. Alright, so sorry to say, my William Collins Survival Knife, I sent that away almost 2 months ago to Stitch Gear Outfitters. And for the past month, every week he says he's going to get to making a Kydex sheath for me, and he hasn't. It's been almost 2 months. At the 2-month mark, I'm probably going to call him and ask him to just send it back, because if I'd have known it was going to take that long, I never would have sent that knife away. I wish I had it to show y'all here. That is probably my ultimate survival knife, the William Collins Survival Knife, WCSK. But all I got to show for right now is the leather sheath that came with it. Hopefully I'll be getting that back soon, because I'm missing it. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a problem. Here's one I just picked up not too long ago. This was a sheath I had for something else, but until I make a sheath for this one, I'm just using this. This is one of a kind William Collins prototype. Kind of a spade blade there, slight belly. Got that little tooth with the Scandi into a full flat. Look at those walnut handles. I don't know how great that'll pop up here on my video. It just won't do it justice. But I got lucky with one of his sales that he did around 4th of July. He had about 20 knives. Every once in a while he puts a bunch up that are prototypes and things been sitting in drawers that he sends out into the world. And I got lucky enough to get this. I'm going to take this with me when I go hunting. I haven't used it yet. I'm kind of saving it for that. All his prototypes have this opposite stamp here where it's black with the, you know, it's kind of like a mirrored laser etch. Let me show you. That's how you can tell if you got. So you can see the difference in his stamp on this one to this one. And this one's an AEBL. This was made in June 2022, so not too long ago. But really excited to use this at some point soon. And I don't know if I'll ever make a video about this knife, because this is the only one that he's ever made of it. I'm sure there'll be a close variation at some point to come out, but felt really lucky to be able to get this knife. Really cool. So that's a prototype by William Collins. I don't even know what the name of it would be. Here's a little one. It was a larger blade that I broke and ended up making this little knife. Nice little neck knife. It's got a hidden tang down to about right here. Super slicey. Got a little pot hanger there. Little pot grabber I did. Neat little knife. That was actually one of the first knives I ever built also. Made this little funky sheath for it. Got a striker on there. Here's a sheath I made not too long ago, figuring out how to do this style. That's my little maker's mark I put on things. But this was a knife that I got off Etsy, and it's It's got a super tough blade. The handles were junk. It was supposedly hand forged, which was BS, but I still like the knife. Heavy duty knife. And I got these micarta scales and put them on here with some brass pins in replace of the scales that broke off it. Durable kind of survival knife, heavy duty. I'm not even going to tell you where I got it because you can't get it in this variation, and I wouldn't go give that guy any business because he kind of lied. But a little bit of a Coke bottle handle on there. Tough beater knife. Here's a kukri. My kukri. Here's a knife sheath I made also. Made in Nepal. GK and Company. Was this brand. Tough, thick, super tough blade made of leaf spring over there in Nepal at some point. I might put some micarta scales on it. It does still have the original scales. Ain't wearing anything special, and just wrap a little tape around there, give it a little more grip. Tough blade. See if we can get this video done before that rain dumps. Here's a big old machete style knife. Ontario knife. The RTAC 2. Nice pack machete. Do some serious limbing with this if you're out doing tree work. Maybe do some bushwhacking. I haven't really got to use it yet. That was in a trade for a knife sheath I made for somebody. But I'll get it out at some point. See how tough it is. Ooh, this is one of my favorites too. I made the little leather sheath for this. This is a William Collins wood carver in 01 steel. And that one there means that it was, there was only 20 of these made. And I got lucky enough to snag one of them. I don't know if he'll ever make more or not, but really cool oak handle. This is a really nice carving knife. I have a video on it. Might do another one. Alright, I guess last but not least, I'm going to show you all the knives that I had carrying on me today. William Collins Master Bushman in AEBL. Sure touch handles. I got a video on this. Really nice knife and handle any task you put it through. I have my Victorinox Spirit X on me. My multi-tool I got to replace that Gerber as my everyday carry. I don't want to lose the Gerber. I pretty much use that for leather work, and this is a pretty awesome little multi-tool. I am going to do a video on this at some point, let you know my thoughts. Here's another Jason Smith knife from Hobo Forge, a little Puko. I use this a lot too. This is an awesome knife. Go over to his website and check his blades out. But I use this a whole lot. A friend gave me a boar tooth, so I figured I'd put that back there on the lanyard. Really nice blade. It's starting to rain. I got one more on me to show you. I've been carrying this a lot lately. Benchmade Claymore. Automatic. Nice, durable, tough knife. Real snappy. Tough blade. Good steel. CPM D2. Got some kind of polymer handle, but I mean, some people say it feels cheap, but I've been using this a bunch, and I mean, I've never had a problem with it. The more I carry it, the more I really like it as an everyday carry. It's tough. Well, I believe that's it, folks. There it is. That's my knife collection. Hope you all enjoyed the video. And until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks for watching. See ya.